Investing in Pokemon cards is actually not as mad an idea as you might first think. If you are somebody who is already interested in collecting Pokemon cards, it's actually not a huge leap to begin investing and thinking about the long-term value of the cards in your collection. In this video, I'm going to show you a series of cards for April 2025 that I think are a good investment opportunity and that can help to maximise your investment value. Overall, what I've done is I've looked for cards that are still below that $50 benchmark line. And what I've tried to do is think about cards that have moved in an interesting way in the market over the past few months. So ultimately, what we're going to be looking at are cards that you can buy for less and see a quick gains on their value and your investment. Ultimately, maximising what you are getting for your money's worth. So the first card that I'm going to recommend to you is probably a bit of a no-brainer, but I'm going to say it anyway. It is, of course, the Mew EX promo card from the 151 UPC box. I mean, this card's been insanely popular. It's just a huge card. It's gorgeous. We were so lucky to have it as a promo card in the West, whereas in Japan, in the original set, it was a card. It was something you had to pull, and it was so sought after that they made it a promo card. Understandably so as well. Currently, TCGPlayer is listing it as being around $33.74 as a sort of average. It's seen some real growth actually in the last few months. So it has also held its own in the last few weeks, where the market has seen quite a dip for whatever reason. I think Prismatic might have done some damage, to be honest. I think a lot of people are kind of saying, nah, I'm not getting involved with that. And that's a shame because the market has dipped quite a bit as a result. However, this card is clearly demonstrating that it is holding its own on the market at the moment. So we can see that around the middle of March it was selling for about $29, and currently it is down in fact it's up. It's up, so $29.34 as of today, which is April the 8th when I'm filming. At its peak it was about $35. So that's not that bad. It's under $50, and you can see it is a steady progress that is holding its own, even in a slightly difficult market at the moment. 3-month snapshot. Lowest sale price was $4, and its highest sale price was $50. So again, you can see it's managing. It's standing its ground. The next two I'm going to talk about kind of in tandem with one another. The reason being is that they are both promo cards from Shrouded Fable. Now, for whatever reason, Shrouded Fable is a pretty mid set, but for whatever reason, its promo cards went hard and they've really, popped off. They are massive. The two that I want to talk to you about are Kingdra EX and the Greninja EX. Greninja again. Both of them beautiful, both of them big cards. So if we look at the Kingdra, we can see that it is currently selling for around $26 on TCGPlayer. It's really holding its own. It's nowhere near as up and down as the Mew is. However, its value at its peak was about $30, and currently, as of today on April the 8th, it is worth about $24, just under $24. So it's doing okay. It's holding its own in the market again. Kingdra is a great example of one of those Pokemon that isn't necessarily a big popular one, but it's been given a beautiful piece of art there and people want it in their collection. As you can see, its lowest sale price is $1.27 and its highest sale price is $44. I mean, that's crazy. Also as well, you can see it's selling a lot as well, and I think that's another thing to consider when buying cards for investment purposes. are they actually selling? It doesn't matter if they are holding their value or going up in value or whatever they're doing in the market. If nobody's buying them, they're not going to be worth anything, are they, in the long run? So you need to think about that as well. Like, what is the saleness of it? Is it going to sell? Is the thing. Greninja is the other one as well. Again, it's a Shrouded Fable promo. Currently, the Greninja is selling for around $40, so more than the Kingdra. At its highest, it was selling for $60. I mean, that's mental. When you consider that you could pick up a Greninja collection box for like 30 quid. I mean, that's mad. The promo alone is worth that much. I mean, honestly, it's a no-brainer with the Greninja. If you can get it for a decent price, it's worth grabbing it, and it's worth grabbing it soon, because at the moment, its price is at a bit of a low ebb. So now's a good time to pick it up, because it will increase in value again. Currently, it's selling for around $32, according to TCGPlayer. At its peak, though, as I said just now, it was selling for closer to $50, $60. And it will probably get there again. But cut me off, I'm not too sure where we got to there. But, so, the Sylveon. At its highest, it was selling for $63.75, which, you know, is a fair price tag on a card. Its lowest is $18.69. And currently, as of today, on April the 8th, it is selling for about $28.29. So, now's a good time to get hold of this. And the thing with Sylveon is it's another example of a Pokemon that will always sell well. It will always hold its value, and I think that's really worth considering. Any of the evolutions is a good bet, but Sylveon is popular. I've got one here. Sylveon is popular. 100% worth looking at this card whilst its price is on the low side. Another example of that is the Snorlax. So we're looking at the Snorlax VMAX. It's from Sword and Shield base set. Interesting. Okay. Sword and Shield base set. Currently, it's a gorgeous card. It's a really popular card. Snorlax, again, is another Pokemon that will always be popular. My favourite as well. You know, so that it doesn't hurt. But, so it averages out at about $65 for this card. However, at the moment, it's selling for closer to $37.70. So it is well worth giving it some thought as to whether or not this would be a good investment card. Its most recent sale was $37.25 on TCGPlayer. And as of April the 8th, that is exactly what it's going for, is around that $37 mark. At its highest, it sold for nearly $60. So, you know, it's currently just under half, just over half, not sure where it's around. It's worth having a look at the moment. So there's two Pokémon Center promos that are currently doing very well. Annoyingly, I don't think you can get hold of the Pokémon Center ETBs all that easily, but you should be able to pick the promos up, I would have thought. So the first one is the Mimikyu promo from Paldean Fates. It is the Pokémon Center exclusive one. If you're going to buy one of these, I would recommend picking up the Pokémon Center one as best if you can. The thing is that Paldean Fates was everywhere for a long time, and the Mimikyu promo cards weren't that popular at the time, which means that there's tons of them kicking around in the market. So if you can get your hands on the Pokémon Center one, it just gives it that extra edge and that extra bit of value. So its most recent sale was $49.90. Which is crazy when you think about it. You know, for a card that was given away with an ETB, that's pretty good. So its average is around $50 though. So, you know, at its peak, it was selling for about just under $60, and currently, as of today, it's around $50. So, you know, it's kind of teetering around that affordability point now. So perhaps now is a good time to get it. Personally, I would consider this one to be a kind of, you know, if you've got the money and you feel like splashing it about, this is a good one to go for. Mimikyu, again, is a really popular Pokemon. You know, it's worth giving some thought to, for sure. So the other one I wanted to talk to you about was the Noctowl promo, and again, it's the Pokemon Center exclusive version of it, which is the promo card from Stellar Crown. I think I'm right in saying that they've sold out of those on the Pokémon Center website now. However, this little card is a cool one. It's got Noctowl on, which again, bit of an obscure choice for a promo, I thought. But yeah, so there's one to think about. At its peak, it was selling for around $70. Can you believe? Currently, it is selling for around the $50 mark. Again, it's like the Mimikyu. If you've got a bit of cash and you're looking to have a bit of fun and, you know, a bit of a riskier investment perhaps, this is a good one. It's held its own in the market. It's just continued to increase in value, even in the last few weeks, as most cards have seen a dip in their value. This one has continued to rise. There's also some really interesting ones from the Sword and Shield era that are still worth taking a look at as well. Obviously, I've mentioned the Snorlax already. There's the Skuntank V from Silver Tempest. So this is current. So it's from Silver Tempest, and it is currently averaging around $30 on TCGPlayer. However, its most recent sale was actually closer to $10. So that is something to think about. I think there's not a lot of them on the market as well, so it's one of those cards that has potential to really take off if you know what I mean. So at its peak, it was selling for about $8, $9, and it's currently selling for around $7.65. However, since the beginning of the year, it has increased in value, almost doubled in value. At the beginning of the year, it was selling for around $5, and now it's looking at closer to $10. So you can see that it's steadily making its way up as the year's progressing, and I think it's definitely something worth thinking about. The other ones that I wanted to talk to you about were the Leafeon V from Evolving Skies. Now, hear me out. Hear me out with this. I appreciate that, you know, picking up a card from Evolving Skies is not a great idea because it's, you know, had its moment and the time's passed. But this is one that isn't breaking the bank. It's a little bit more expensive. It's not $50. I'm not going to tell you that now. It is not selling for under $50. Its most recent sale was $104. However, at its peak, it was selling for closer to $160. So it's having a little bit of a moment where it's dipping at the moment, but with time, it's likely to increase again. Personally, I wouldn't go for this one, but if you're a big fan of the evolutions and the like, then this is probably a safe one to go for in terms of Evolving Skies. Leafeon is relatively popular. It's a Leafeon V, so it's not one of the bigger cards, but it is a beautiful card. So, the next one I wanted to talk to you about is the Hisuian Sneasler V, the alternate full art from Astral Radiance. It's a cool card. I really like this card. So at its peak, it was selling for around $44. Okay, its lowest sale price was $21, and currently its most recent sale was around $28. So it's at a good point in the market, and again we can see from the chart here that it is just gradually increasing in value as time goes on. So it's one to look at. Also, it's a cool card. It's telling a story, and people really like the Pokemon cards that do that. The other one that I want to talk to you about is from Chilling Reign, which again, massive set, and it's really having a moment. Its popularity has increased over time, and that is this Ice Rider Calyrex. It's actually not one that I was that familiar with before making this video, to be honest. I was a little bit like, oh, what's that? But it's a really cool card, and it features a really cool piece of artwork on it as well. I really like it. On average, it's selling for around $60. However, the most recent sale price of it was actually just under $50. It is definitely one to keep an eye on. It's growing. It took a massive dip around the middle end of February. It went right down to being about $43, and it's now well and truly on its way back up, with the most recent sale as of today having been around $46. So it's making its way back up again, and I think it's definitely something worth considering. It's also one of the more obscure Pokemon. It's not one that people immediately jump on, so it's one of those ones where, you know, a lot of people will have slept on this. I want to have a quick look today in a card shop, and I want to actually see what we can find. These cards that I've recommended to you, are they actually available? Or are they just, just a wild goose chase? So I'm here in Trowbridge this morning, in Wiltshire. I'm going to a shop called Skyforge. It's got a great selection of Pokemon stuff. And basically what I want to do is look for our investment cards, see if they are actually available in shops in the wild. Like, how easy are they to actually get a hold of? So I'm spotting a few of the cards, some light brown it annoyingly, a few of the cards that I might be interested in. You can see there's an amazing selection in here. One of the coolest shops I've come across in terms of Pokemon. So, back in the car now, about to head home. That was quite successful. So, managed to pick up 2 of our chase cards. I got the Hisuian Sneasler there for £25, and I picked up the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX as well for £35. So, pretty happy with that. And I think you could see in that shop that there was actually a really good selection of those cards available. Some were definitely more expensive than I was expecting them to be. However, that's always the way, isn't it? You've got to, you can't always account for the pricing that people put on their cards in their shop. It's up to them what they charge. Some were cheaper. So, it's all swings and roundabouts in that respect. So, but I've picked up 2. I think the Ice Rider Calyrex would probably be quite good for grading as well, so I'm going to have a look at that at some point. But yeah, I think we're on to a winner there. Thank you for watching today's video. Hopefully these tips and suggestions will prove to be of some use to you. I've tried to think about cards that are specifically worth investing in now in April 2025. So don't miss out, because this is going to be a series, and I'm going to be back next month in May 2025 to look at the market again and offer you some new suggestions of cards that would be worth your time and money. We'll also look back on this month's video and have a review of the 2 cards that I bought in it and see how they're performing in the market, whether they're up, they're down, they're sideways, who knows, we'll find out. But either way, don't miss out. I'm going to be back with lots of great tips and information. I'll see you next month. Take care.